I hope you find this session very informative towards making your decisions for your application into the Diploma of Anaesthetic Technology and Practice. So the session will last for about 45 minutes in total. We shall provide you with a variety of information, and as I say, open up for Q&A at the end. I do have a number of the lecturers on board, also 2 or 3 people from industry will be attending, just to give you a very broad overview of what we can provide as information to help you with your decision as this course is right for you. So I'd like to begin with an acknowledgement to country. North Metropolitan TAFE recognises Australian Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples' unique and cultural spiritual relationships to the land, waters and seas, and their rich contribution to society. We acknowledge the Noongar people, the traditional custodians of the lands on which our campuses are located, and pay our respects to ancestors and elders past and present. Thank you. So we'll start right away with giving you some information about what does an anaesthetic technician do. We're going to hear from 2 of our esteemed lecturers today. The first will be Jacqueline, and then we'll be handing over to Brooke. Jacqueline and Brooke are both very current of working in industry, as all our lecturers are, and they're going to give you an overview of both the private and the public system and this job role. So without further ado, Jacqueline, if you're available, I will hand over to you to give us some information, please.
Thanks, Sam. So like Sam said, my name's Jacqueline. I'm one of the anaesthetic tech lecturers here. I've been an anaesthetic technician for almost 20 years. Actually, we were talking about it the other day amongst our lecturing team, and we've probably got over 150 years experience in industry as anaesthetic techs combined. So between all of us lecturers, I think we've probably seen every kind of case that you can see. I trained in New Zealand as an anaesthetic tech at Auckland Hospital, and I worked there for a few years, and then I moved over to Perth 13 years ago, and I've worked mainly in various private hospitals across Perth. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of our role. So the definition there that I've got on that slide is anaesthetic technicians are uniquely skilled clinicians who provide technical and advanced clinical support to anaesthetists. They work anywhere that anaesthetics can be given, so theatre, cath lab, endoscopy, ECT, radiology, dental clinics, recovery, emergency departments, anywhere an anaesthetist can go, an anaesthetic tech is usually with them. We have specific skills in advanced life support algorithms, and that includes anaesthetic crisis management. So a little bit of an overview about what we do in a day. So our role is all about teamwork and patient safety. So we work in a multidisciplinary team, and we work very closely with our anaesthetists. So on that role there, you can see at the start of the day, our day starts long before the patients come into the theatre. We're usually the first ones there in the morning, and we start off by doing our anaesthetic machine check. We do a level 2 and 3 check. That just means nothing to you guys now, but if you get into the course, that'll become very clear. We check all our monitoring equipment. We check our surgical safety checklists. We make sure our suction and our oxygen are all ready to go, and we have all the gear ready for the case. Because we work in operating theatres, there's no room for error. So we're dealing with patients' lives, somebody's child, somebody's parent, somebody's grandparent. So we have to make sure that we are safe and we're accountable for what we're doing. That's paramount in everything that we do. So once our anaesthetist gets there in the morning, we'll discuss with them about what we're doing for the day, and we'll come up with a plan. And then we'll start by bringing our patient into theatre. So we assist the anaesthetist. So if you think about a surgeon's got a scrub nurse that assists them, we assist the anaesthetist. So it might mean helping with an airway, setting up some lines for IV fluids, monitoring changes during surgery, positioning for different surgery, and anticipating what happens next. So we're an extra pair of eyes supporting our anaesthetist, making sure that our patient is safe. So just on from that, the nature of the role, anaesthetic technicians, we do shift work. So we're there when a patient needs surgery, whether it's a routine elective case first thing in the morning or an emergency on-call case in the middle of the night or a night shift case. We do nights, we do weekends, we do on-call duties and long hours on your feet. So it's a very demanding lifestyle, and we start implementing that as you're a student. We start getting you guys used to the long hours and early starts and late finishes. No 2 days are the same. You'll see all sorts of exciting surgery, lots of busy cases. If you work in private, there's lots of busy lists. In public, you'll get to see some really interesting high acuity critical cases. But at the end of the day, we are the patient advocates. We are the last face that patients see before they go to sleep. And we are there when they wake up, that we're someone there that's holding their hand, keeping them calm and double checking that everything is okay, that they're feeling safe and happy while they're going to sleep. We work very closely with our anaesthetists. Like I said, we're their second set of eyes, ears, hands. We learn a lot of the same skills as anaesthetists. Even though we are not doctors, we can still recognize and respond and say to our anaesthetist, that doesn't look very right. Something's going on there. And you build that relationship with them where they rely on you as their second pair of eyes. And we make that sure that everyone gets through surgery as safely as possible. Sometimes things take a longer turn with emergencies, but with our skills, we are there to help them. Thank you. That's all I've got to say.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jacqueline. That's amazing. I'm going to hand over to Brooke now to just give you a little bit of information. Brooke works at PCH. She'll give you a background. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name's Brooke. As Sam has introduced me, I work at PCH, and now I'm lecturing at TAFE. That was very well said, Jacqueline. I think she really, for some of you who may not have known before today what an anaesthetic technician does, that was incredibly comprehensive and a really good explanation. Jacqueline's worked largely, she said, in the private sector. The public sector, it does run quite differently. However, the basic principles of the role apply, and you could easily switch between. I know lots of people who've worked in Joondalup and then maybe they've ended up at Charlie's, so you can absolutely swap between. It does involve shift work. It does involve being on your feet. It does involve dealing with hard things. Working in surgery, there are cases where you may have to be involved with sad cases or like organ retrievals, things like that. So you need to learn how to compartmentalize isn't probably the right word, but learn how to, participate and fully in your work, and then obviously like come home and have your boundaries in place for your work and your profession and your private life. But it's a very rewarding job. A lot of it's around assisting the anaesthetist, who, as you know, puts people off to sleep during surgery and keeps people safe during like homeostasis. It can be a very busy job. I often think it's quite a repetitive job, but that's not a bad thing. If you're an organized person and you enjoy following a process from start to completion, then this is the job for you. And it's the patients and the conditions and the surgeries that make it really exciting. Like no two 2 days are the same, and that's really special. You're obviously, people always say to me, oh, what, like you want to work with the sleep patients, but we're there for the induction of anesthesia, which is when you're going off to sleep. So we actually get a lot of patient contact, and it's incredibly rewarding, particularly coming from the pediatric standpoint, where you get to engage with the children. You might be blowing bubbles, singing songs. If you told me I would be singing at work in front of 10 people, I would have said, nah, never in a million years. But this job, no 2 days are the same. So lots of opportunities. You can work full-time, part-time, but on call, theatres run round the clock, 24/7, 365. So you may be the one who has to work Christmas Day. You may be the one who has to work Easter. So, and that's part of working in a team. Unfortunately, children and adults don't choose to be sick or get injured on those days. It just happens. You fall off your scooter, or, you have to get your appendix taken out. So, that's probably it from me, but you're going to get a better overview of what this course entails. It can be quite challenging, so take that into account, but it really is a very rewarding job. So I hope that was helpful.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Brooke. Thanks, Brooke. Thanks, Jacqueline. And again, if you've got further questions, as I say, there will be Q&A at the end, or you can pop it into the chat. We've got a couple of people, Bill and Louisa, another one of our lecturers, and our PL monitoring the chat for you as well. So we'll move on. Just about your study at TAFE. TAFE is one of the only organisations that deliver this course, along with Queensland. I might add, we're fortunate enough at the moment in WA to be supported by the government's or the WA government's fee-free course for this anaesthetic technology course, which means that the fees you pay just literally cover the resource fees of what you use in labs. In Queensland, I believe the course would cost you about $25,000. So we really are very blessed here in WA to have access to this course, and hence it is incredibly competitive, and we have a high amount of applicants for the course for a limited amount of places. With regards to the delivery, the theory is done in what we call a blended style. So some will be face-to-face, some will be online via our online learning student management system. And those sessions are recorded, but we do encourage, where possible, that students attend, because the interaction, the discussion can be really, really key to your learning journey. Your sessions will also change each semester depending on where you are in the course. So the days may change as well. In addition to your theory, we have labs. So we have really well equipped labs. We've got a photo of one of our lecturers, Brendan, there doing a lab with some of our students from last semester. I won't explain what that is. Someone else can do that if you'd like to. But the labs have access to really good equipment. It enables our lecturers to give you excellent tuition prior to going out on placement, which we will talk about shortly, and also to assess your skills to ensure that you are safe to go out on placement. So labs, again, are really important to attend and are obviously based on campus, at present Mount Lawley. Your assessments will take place then in the labs, and these are called simulations. They are in line with the training package requirements. And so anything that we see will be ticked off, and there will be criteria. Bill will talk a little bit more about this as the academic lead shortly, but we need to see a certain amount of skills and a certain repetition of skills in line with the training package requirements. And this will show us that you are satisfactory in what needs to be demonstrated in line with your placement skills. So again, Bill will give you a little bit more detail about that shortly. And in fact, I will hand over about expectations and academic requirements to Bill. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, hi Sam, thanks for that. Hi everybody, welcome to this information session. Look, I am the principal lecturer that oversees this qualification in conjunction with Sam and the fantastic lecturing team that we have. But my role is to ensure that what we deliver, our assessment tools, our resources, and everything we provide to you as part of your student journey is compliant, and we have to meet the RTO standards as part of our agreement to be an education provider. And as Sam and our two lecturers have alluded to, this is a highly professional, highly skilled niche part of the hospital industry. And we are the only provider on the Western Seaboard, so there is a very high demand for these positions. We have approximately 300 plus applicants for a total of 50 positions, so it is highly competitive. So saying that, we do have an expectation on our students, the ones that are successful in obtaining one of those 50 positions, that you need to attend all your classes, be it theory and labs, and really commit to this course to have the best opportunity to be successful in it. You can't, it's not one of those courses where you can work you work part-time or full-time on the side and juggle your study and everything like that. It needs your full attention to do this, the justice that this qualification deserves. So I really need to make that really clear right now. With it as well, with the assessment side of things that Sam touched on, look, there are assessments for your knowledge. So you have to understand the knowledge before you can move into your simulated labs. And then in the labs, you combine the knowledge and the concepts that you've been taught and put that together into the simulated labs. And once you're being assessed there and we deem you safe to practice, that's when we will put you out on your placements for each stage. So we have 3 stages. There's stage 1, stage 2 and stage 3. So any of the units, if you are not successful with any of the units in stage 1, you will be re-enrolled and need to complete stage 1 before you move to stage 2. And the same with stage 2, you need to be fully successful and safe to practice, pass all your assessments before you can go on to placement and then move into stage 3. So we do have these, for want of a better term, little gatekeepers that we have in place to ensure that you're scaffolding your learning as you go and you're getting all the skills to build on. I've just got to let somebody else in. But saying that, look, it's great. It's a fantastic course that we've put together. We do have an absolute fabulous team of lecturers that are highly skilled, highly knowledgeable. So if you're willing to commit and really dig in for the 18 months to come out with a qualification, then this is a course for you. If you've got other commitments outside of study that will impact on your ability to do this course, then this isn't the one for you at this point in time. Okay. As Sam said, we're going to have a question and answer section at the end. So if you've got any questions in regards to what I've just spoken about, certainly ask them at the end of this session. So thank you very much. Back to you, Sam.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Bill. Very informative. I appreciate that. What are the key components of this course is mandatory minimum 360 hours of placement that will take place in one of our hospitals where we have an agreement in WA. Our placement coordinator is Ryan Hanlon. And if Ryan is available, I will hand over to him to just give you an overview of placement and how that works for this course of anaesthetic technology. Ryan?
Yeah, thanks very much, Sam. Hopefully you can all hear me okay. I won't do you the service of putting my camera on as I've just ridden home, but yeah, it's good to see so many new faces that are looking and interested to join this qualification and this future career. It's great to see there's a huge amount of interest out there. So the role that you're looking to undertake is really a very hands-on and practical role. And whilst we do teach you the theory and give you the capacity within the workstations and the simulations that we run at TAFE, most of the learning and the way that you're going to actually put it all together is going to occur out in the workplace, and that's been built into and understood as part of this diploma. So as Sam's just mentioned, there's a requirement within the diploma that you need to do this minimum of 360 hours that was determined when they set this out a long time ago. And that's going to give you the basis to enable you to put it all together, put theory into practice, see how things really work in the real world, get an opportunity to learn and experience how other people undertake those roles and tasks out in the live environment, and get lots of variety of different ideas and scopes of experience through your rotations in practice. It's not in any way going to make you into the absolute gun in anaesthesia, and that's not what we're looking to do in this course. We're setting you on a path that really sets you up for a lifelong journey of learning. So by the time you've finished, you've got enough to get started in a really safe way, and that's what we set out to do. And so when we looked at the requirements of this diploma and saying that you needed to have 360 hours, as Bill said, we want to start you off gently and then build on it year and semester by semester. So your placements will be set out in such a way to align to the units that you're studying in each of the stages. And we're going to take you on a journey through this diploma that looks at the journey of the patient and builds on experience and exposure that you've had as you move along the course. We understand that people come into this diploma with a different set of life experiences and a different understanding of what this job might entail. And so we build you up from the ground up. And so our course starts off very gently and starts off very simply and then builds on that experience as we move along. Now, this role, when you get out there and into the real world and you're taking on this job for yourself, it's a very serious job, as Bill and Sam and the other lecturers have alluded to. And so we need to be making sure that we're sending out people on placements and sending out people at the end of this diploma who are going to show that they've taken this job seriously. And we do that measurement all the way along. And so like Bill said, it's really important that when you do look to sign up for this diploma, that you're doing it at the right stage of your life and that you're absolutely ready to commit to the amount of study and the workload that's required. So, I mean, when we send you out on placements, you'll be going out for, initially it'll be 2 weeks solid of placements, and we're talking long days. We're talking 10-hour days for 2 weeks initially. And so you get that basis of experience. So in the first set of experience, we'll send you out there with enough under your belt to be able to take part in the initial role and to have a taster of what it's like to be in the operating theatre, which can be really different for a lot of people compared to some of the experience they've had in the past. So that 2-week intensive block at the end of the first semester or the end of your first set of units that prepare you for your placement. And before we even get to that, we need to make sure in the labs and in your working with us in all of the classes that you're making satisfactory progress. And that's a really key term for this. You need to show us and really demonstrate that you are committed to the role, that you're going to behave professionally, that you're going to turn up on time, that you're going to attend and show real diligence in your learning, all of these things as you move through this units and make your way through the placement. We have a set point in the first semester, for example, where we will be looking to see whether or not we are deeming you as being on a satisfactory path to be able to go out on placement. And quite a few people don't meet that mark just because it's not really what they thought it was going to be, or they're not quite ready, or they've got other things in their life that mean that they can't give it the focus that deserves. Okay, so as we move through this course, we will be making those determinations, and you need to keep on showing us as you go through. So the placements that we offer are with our partner sites, and some of those sites are listed on this slide here, and there's a few more besides that. And what we try and do is work with the sites, give them an idea of what we're teaching and what to expect from you. And then when you go out on your placements, they'll assign you to work alongside an experienced anaesthetic technician out in that workforce, or an anaesthetic nurse that's providing that service in some of the locations. And they'll take you through how to do the day-to-day of the tasks, okay? They'll be then working with you to tick off some skills that we need to have you undertake to be able to meet the requirements of the units, and saying to us whether or not we are meeting the sort of benchmarks that we set at each stage. Then you come back after that placement and then you move on to the next stage, as Bill said. So at each stage of your journey, and there's 3 stages which can be split up between full-time and part-time on different sort of lengths of time, but the 3 stages are the same regardless of the pathway that you choose. Okay, so stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. So stage 1, as I say, is an introduction. We've got you've got a pretty easy sort of inroad there. It's a way for you to find your feet in theatre, get 2 weeks of intensive sort of time in placement. By the time you've made it through to stage 2, we're mixing it up a little bit, and we're giving you learning and industry experience at the same time. So your placements will be undertaken on set days of the week for a set period of time within the semester, and you'll be still coming to TAFE outside of those days that you're on placement. So it's more of a mixed model, okay? And in that second occasion where you're getting that experience, we'll be giving you up to about 120 hours, okay? And the same sort of rules apply. You will all be enhancing the skills that you learned in the first semester, building on all those stuff that you learned, learning new skills, applying it out in the industry workforce, potentially at a new site. We always try and give you a different site unless you've got one of the other programs going on. And we also try and give you a mix in public and private as well, so that you can see how things differ. Okay, and then you meet that requirement, come back to TAFE, and then all being well, you move into the final semester in stage 3, which is your last little opportunity before you go out into the workforce proper. And by stage 3, we're hoping and expecting that by that stage, you're at that level where you're almost ready to work on your own, and that you're taking on some very simple lists on your own, you're building up more enhanced and advanced skills, and that you're taking on the full role to the best of your capacity with support at close call. Okay, so the expectation when you finish this with that 360 hours is that you can be employed into the workforce, and that your new workplace would then work with you to keep on building on that experience as a very beginning practitioner. Okay, so my advice and my reason for wanting to talk to you today is to really understand that the placements are a crucial part of this diploma, and that you should expect that this could happen at any stage and time throughout your diploma. And because of the placement load and the study load, there will be times when, even under a part-time pathway, there'll be times, especially in stage 3, when your study load and your work here at TAFE will require you to be working at a full-time capacity, even if it's only for a limited period of time. And even when it comes to stage 1 at the very beginning, there's going to be 2 weeks where you're going to be expected to go out for a full-time placement. Okay, so it's important that you time your entry into this course really well, and that you have made sure that you don't have any commitments which are going to interfere with those expectations and your ability to meet all of these requirements of the course, because the course will just keep on moving on, and you'll end up either having to repeat the unit or withdraw or defer, or end up having to do more units later on. Okay, so just make sure that you're fully prepared for what's expected of you here. I'm sure there's lots and lots of questions, and there's always questions as you move along, but hopefully that's given you some idea of what the placement requirements will be, and hopefully we'll see some of you here next semester.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Ryan. So informative, and I've seen some excellent comments, so people are really appreciative of that advice that they're getting in the chat as well. So thank you. Okay, so I'm just going to move on now just to talk about timetable. So I'm the head of programs. I'm currently working on the timetable for next semester. Along with Bill, the principal lecturer, we're putting in a plan to try and streamline and make the course as student-centered as we possibly can, be it in mind of all those things that Ryan, Jacqueline, Bill have talked about before. What we want to do is make this course as accessible as possible for you all to be able to attend and enjoy and absorb to your best ability. It is a competitive entry, as you've heard. We have high numbers for the places here. You do have one attempt at doing the BKSB literacy and numeracy testing, which is a prerequisite for this course. Now, if you're a bit rusty on your maths, we offer, for a very competitive price, there's a skill set for maths refresher that you can find on our website, or we can give you more information on prior to BKSB. For anaesthetic technicians, because of the competitiveness of the course, you just get one attempt to meet the standards or to pass that course. So it's really important, and it's roughly geared at about a sort of 10 to 11 NAT plans level. But obviously maths literacy is quite key there, along with an overview of being able to do calculations, so on, because that's a key component of the job. The full-time model is, as Ryan said, 18 months, which runs over 3 semesters. And so you've got your stage 1, 2, and 3, and the units of competency that you need to get a CO or be competent in are spread evenly over that. And that will be, as we've said, a combination of your theory, your simulation, and then the final part of your assessment is always placement. So even if you've sailed through stuff on site, as it were, with TAFE, the placement is key, because a lot of your competencies will need to be demonstrated satisfactorily on your placement, which is why it's scaffolded at each level to make sure that you are satisfactory before you move on to the next. The part-time model currently runs over 5 semesters. The stream of units are very, very similar, and by stage 3 are part-time and full-time combined together. So the last 6 months are pretty intense for all, and that's just how, as Ryan said, the course works with regard to placement and the scaffolding of information. However, the days, I'm already planning those. You're on campus a little bit less in general, but you do have to have the allocation time for those placements especially, but we do need to see those skills on site. But we've tried to maybe make longer days, so you're maybe just in 1 day a week wherever we can. Sometimes it's 1.5 day. For full time, it might be 3 to 4 days a week on top of placement, which will be blocking in stage 1. Each semester changes. We're trying to plan ahead of a game to make it nice and streamlined, especially for placements in industry. But just be aware that you will need to be available to change or be flexible to change the days and the times for both placements and your classes as you transition through each stage of the course. So we can't promise you will always just be there on a Monday and Friday. Sadly, for a number of reasons, the course cannot run in this way. We let you know as soon as possible what days you will be needed or required for the following semester, so you can, because we understand you have childcare, maybe a part-time work that you need to accommodate for, but the course, we are really restricted by placements, by lab availability, and by ensuring the lecturers that can help you, assist you fully are able to be in those classes. So it's a jigsaw puzzle putting those together, which will change for each semester. Finally, everything we do is really fed and designed by continuous feedback, both from the students that have gone through the course previously and now, and also from industry. So we do our utmost to try and make the best quality student-centered course that we can, ensuring that we meet all the academic and qualification guidelines. As I said, there's lots of jigsaw pieces that have to come together here, but we don't just make those decisions on our own here. We work very, very closely with the industry and with our students to make this product the best it possibly can be. So you will see there's continuous improvement and maybe minor updates and changes as we work through the course. Bill, I don't know if you would like to add anything to that.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. I think Sam's hit the nail on the head, because we do have all of these systems in place where we speak to industry. We obviously gather really good feedback from the students, and we improve the student journey as we go. We action on the feedback that we get where we can and as soon as we can. And we don't make change for change's sakes. The qualification that we deliver, we answer to the training package that's set up by a national body, and you can actually, if you choose to, if you've got nothing better to do after this information session, you can jump onto Google and type in training.gov site, and that'll come up with the it has all the qualifications on there, and if you type in HLT57921, it will give you the footprint of the Diploma of Anaesthetic Tech qualification, and we have all those units listed there that we have to abide by and deliver to. So that's why we do have a lot of assessments. I'll be upfront with that, but that's the training package, because what you're choosing to do, you're dealing with people in their most at their most vulnerable. So we have to ensure that when we finally let you go out into the wild blue yonder, you've got a solid foundation that you can build on and go out and learn, as Ryan alluded to earlier on as well. So yeah, we're all about the student journey, looking after you guys, and we look after our lecturers as well. And if we do that, we have a really good product, and you will have a fantastic experience. Yeah, there you go. Ryan's put up the link in the chat for you, so you can choose to click on that, and that will give you a breakdown of all the units that we have in the qualification. Thanks, Sam.
Wonderful, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Bill. Just to finalise before we open up for questions, and I do believe we have a couple of industry partners that may like to share a few words of wisdom as well in the room. So Louisa and Bill, if you can check on that to unmute as and when in a couple of moments. But tonight, just so you're aware that admissions opened last Thursday. The cut-off date for admissions for this course is the 31st of October. We really reiterate, when you put in your admission, give as much information as possible about your work history, your history of education. It doesn't matter if it's directly related to a medical background or not. All those things are involved in a points process to assessing your application. This is also in addition, because it's a competitive course, to the BCSB. So you do need to pass the actual BCSB exam. There's a lot of pre-checks and admissions, but it gets confused sometimes. And if you're unsure, contact TAFE admissions for more clarity on this. But the actual exam needs to be passed for both literacy and numeracy. And you get one attempt. You then will be assessed for a maximum of 90 points, and it's a combination of your work history and your academic history. So the more information you provide on that, the better, essentially. And if you need any more direction, TAFE admissions are more than happy to help. Client services are happy to help, or you can reach out and we'll direct your inquiry, if we can't answer it today, to those departments that are managing that process for you. Okay, what I will do now is open up for questions. Bill and Louise have been monitoring the chat and the Q&A. And also, if we have, I know we have a couple of industry partners in the room that maybe would like to speak and share a few words as well for our clients or potential students online today. Thank you, everybody. Louisa, are you able to add, or do we have Lauren in the room? Maybe pop in the chat, or anyone from, I think there's a couple from Charlie's potentially that might want to say a few words.
Lauren from King's, oh, hang on, I can't.
So if you can find Lauren.
Yeah, I don't have permission to unmute the mic, Sam.
Oh, okay.
That might be
Lauren's,
you.
Oh, here we go. Okay, Lauren, your mic is on now. Thank you.
Hello, thanks for the opportunity to have a quick chat to the prospective anaesthetic tech students. My name's Lauren Robertson. I'm from St John of God Healthcare, and I'm the Early Career Pathways Coordinator. We take students across stage 1, 2 and 3 for the anaesthetic tech pracs with North Metro TAFE. We have what we call our clinical school, which offers students to then apply sort of towards the end of stage 1 to then complete stage 2 and 3 placements at our hospitals. And the benefits of this is that they get regular exposure to our hospitals and our processes and a prospective pathway into graduate employment with us. For those who do commence as a graduate anaesthetic tech, we have a supported 12-month Pathways to Practice program that really does support your transition into that professional role and an opportunity to learn alongside an interdisciplinary team. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for that, Lauren. And there may be a couple of questions in the chat that come for you as well. Bill and Louisa, can I open it to you? Maybe you want to share any chat questions or informations verbally with the group. I haven't been able to monitor the chat because I'm jigging between about 4 screens here. So if I open to you and maybe share any information that is key that's come up here. I've seen a few questions about placement and night shifts and assessments and so on, but maybe a summary of just for what's in the chat, because that won't be available, I don't believe, on the recording for anybody that listens to this moving forward. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. A common thread, there's queries about the BKSB being a prerequisite for gaining a position in the course. So yes, you do need to do it. It's part of the scoring and ranking system to come into the qualification and be offered a position. So yeah, even if you do have prior learning, you will need to do the BKSB. So that's one of our local requirements for the course for everybody across the board. Again, because it is competitive, we have up to 300 applicants hoping to get a position out of the 50 that we put up each semester. Another query was about the shifts for prac, and Ryan has kindly answered that the pracs are during day shift and during the week only. So you're quite fortunate with that there's no night shifts or weekend shifts, unlike if you're doing the Diploma of Nursing. You can be all over the place with that. What else we got? There was a query about the assessments. You do get 2 attempts at assessments, as with adult vocational education. We don't do percentile grades, so you don't get 89%, you go 90%, stuff like that, or 51% and just pass. You have to demonstrate that you know everything correctly. So in the old terms, yep, 100% is what we require. So you need to know all of it, and hence that's why we do offer 2 opportunities with the assessments for that. And
I see, Bill, there's a question about employment outcomes. And again, Jacqueline answered this very well. There's not necessarily many advertised positions. It tends to be more word of mouth, I believe, or internally, and it's very, especially in private, very budgetary related. But as Lauren has given us, there's also opportunities for cadetships once you've done your stage 1. So there's opportunities there to get into 2 or 3 of the different hospitals. St John of God is one that Lauren represents with a cadetship, if you meet those criteria, which would obviously, if you demonstrate all the skills and the attributes required, I suspect would strongly lead to career on the outcome of your completion of your qualification. Anybody feel free to add to that, Ryan? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that, Sam. The cut-off for the complete the BKSB, look, I'm not too sure about that. That'll be something that will be sent out probably later in term 4 for people from client services to get that actioned on. If you do have previous degrees in be it health, any part of the health industry, that is certainly advantageous for you. And again, it goes back towards that point scoring system that Sam mentioned earlier about gaining a position on the course, but it also puts you in good stead as well to come in, because we do have a lot of anatomy and the foundational stuff as well. So that does help. But we do cater for people that don't have a health background as well. We scaffold from the ground up. Practice BKSBs, that look, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head rather. That would be something that I can clarify with client services, and we can get back to you and send something out for that information.
I can add to that, Bill. So there's not a practice BKSB, but we do have the maths refresher that you can I think it is a very minimal cost that you can enroll into. You'll find that on the main NMTAFE website, and that will give you key components for the BKSB, and they go over practice questions with you in that skill set. So that is a really valuable skill set for anybody, just to get an overview of the kinds of questions and how they may be worded, because often it's just the maths literacy or the literacy around those questions. It's a bit like you go back to your school tests that you used to do. So it's just helping you get back into that frame of mind and be successful with that. Okay, so I think we've answered most of the questions. Yeah, just one thing, any degree, like I said to you, any work history, any previous academic experience, please put in as much detail as you can on your application. All is considered and all is point scored by TAFE admissions. So put anything in. You won't be disadvantaged or advantaged necessarily because you've worked in health or not before. They look at the whole picture. More specific information about that can be obtained from TAFE admissions, but the more information they have about your work and academic history, the better. That's going to help for your application, but along with the BKSB. I think then, yeah, so there's a bit of information about, I think we're just seeing a few comments around registration and so on. So it's a little bit different to nursing at the moment, as Louisa's put there, but there are registration bodies and there's a movement towards that registration. But at the end of the day, I think Louisa will concur, even at Charlie's, they have about 60 or 70 anaesthetic technicians. Is that correct? If you don't want to speak, you can put it in the chat. So I mean, there are jobs out there for the people that show the aptitude and the capability to do the workload there. I'm just I'm conscious of the time. If there's no further, oh yes, okay, 70 texts. There you go for Charlie's alone. Charlie's alone. So I will probably look now, just conscious of the time, we've got 7:17. Unless there's any more pressing questions that you require answers to, I'll probably look to wrap this up now and thank everybody, each one of you, for your contribution and your time this evening, and wish you well for a lovely evening. Oh,
Thank you, Sam. Thanks, everybody.
thank you. This will be available. I know there's a question about amount wages there, but I can't answer that question. But thank you, everybody. This will be available within the next 24 hours, so you can listen again or share with anybody else via the TAFE website and TAFE admissions. So we'll get that available for you. Thank you and appreciate you attending this evening. Thank you.